ever heard the term imposter syndrome and wondered, what's this really all about? Or thought it might be something you personally or someone in your team is experiencing and want to be better informed? I'm Lara Meyer, a coach for leaders in the insights industry to help them and their teams reach their full potential. In this video, I will talk through common questions that I get asked about imposter syndrome and share my take from having learned the tools to deal with it personally and having shared successfully with clients in my private coaching practice. The first thing to start with is, well, what exactly is imposter syndrome? And imposter syndrome is the fear and worry of being found out or exposed as a fraud for our self-perceived incompetence. It's not the reality, it's our perception. And it's quite a pervasive feeling of inadequacy that can persist even in the face of very significant achievements. And imposter syndrome has become the name that's most synonymous with these feelings, but it's not actually a syndrome in a medical sense. It's sometimes also referred to as imposter phenomenon. And to avoid labeling people, I often refer to it as imposter feelings. This to me is more accurate and descriptive because feelings come and go, and actually so does imposter syndrome. One of the other questions I get asked is, well, what causes these feelings of self-doubt and inadequacy? And the causes of imposter syndrome can be quite complex. It stems from perfectionism, unrealistic self-expectations, fear of failure, often comparing to others. There's societal and cultural factors that play a role too, and your personal experience can contribute to these feelings. If you're from a minority or marginalized group where you are less well represented in your organization or team, that lack of representation can really amplify imposter feelings. And in real terms, it commonly gets triggered when you're outside your comfort zone. So like starting a new job is a classic example because there is a real element of questioning whether or not you have or can learn the skills that are needed to deliver the role at hand. And you also probably have a desire to do well. So there's that added pressure you put on yourself to make a really good impression. Plus the fact that in the early days of a new job, you don't feel comfortable to open up to a new boss or peers about how you're feeling. And that isolation exacerbates the misconception in your mind that you might be found out as a fraud. So the big question really is, how can we overcome the imposter syndrome challenge? And, it requires a lot of self-awareness, very intentional strategies to deal with it. And the first thing is really you need to be aware that imposter syndrome exists and you're by no means the only one feeling this way. And often even that piece of knowledge is a huge revelation and relief. Then once you can put some distance between yourself and your anxieties, being found out as a fraud, then what's really critical is to challenge negative self-talk, especially, dealing with any habits or behaviors that might arise in response to feeling like an imposter. One of the tools that I use with clients on this is called positive intelligence, and it really enables you to gain a mastery over your mind so that whenever that sneaky imposter voice appears, you know it for what it is and you don't actually let it hold you back. Then to really grow beyond there, it's starting to own your strengths, acknowledge your accomplishments, and really give yourself credit. These are muscles that need to be established and worked regularly in order to maintain your sense of self-belief. Plus, I do think it's vital to stretch yourself so that you continue to learn and grow. Seeking support from coaches, mentors, or peers along the way, you'll find that there are more people than you anticipate, I expect, who can really relate to the feelings of feeling like an imposter and what you're going through. Now, I get asked a lot, is it something that everybody faces? And you know what? It is actually surprisingly common. People from all walks of life and various levels of success can experience it. And of all the research studies I've reviewed, they suggest that between 70 to 80% of people have experienced imposter feelings at some point in their lives or careers. Now, it comes and it goes. So it's not likely that it's been an ever-present feeling, but it's clear to see with those kind of numbers, most people you would bring it up to would have some kind of experience that they would be able to relate to and share with you. The challenge with it, though, is it lurks silently in the background because of the fact that people often don't talk about it, because actually that would reveal them as the imposter they are so worried is being found out as. And the longer it goes on like this, the more likely it is of getting in the way of having the career and the life that you truly want to experience and are capable of if you didn't hold yourself back. And the other thing that people often ask me is, well, does this affect successful people? And actually, imposter syndrome can affect anyone, regardless of their age, gender, or accomplishments. And in fact, it's very often the high achieving individuals that do put the excessive pressure on themselves to maintain success that exacerbate these feelings. And, it's very common that with each new success, each new challenge, the goalposts change. The stakes are even higher. You've now got more responsibility, a larger team to lead. And so the pressure you place on yourself is even greater. And even knowing this and expecting those feelings as you stretch yourself and grow and progress in your career can be a really useful thing, so that you preempt that negative self-talk and the self-sabotaging behaviors that accompany it. The questions I've answered in this video give quite a good introduction to the topic of imposter syndrome and some of the ways to overcome it, but it can be really hard to deal with on your own. So if you want some personalised support on how to learn the tools to deal with it, then I'm here to help. I'll guide you as you learn to manage your mind, grow your self-belief, and smash bigger and bigger goals of yours. To find out more details, visit my website. You'll find the direct link below.